All right, so some scientists have suggested that mammals in the Mesozoic were not a very blank group. So I have some negatives in here. So they were not blank, but this guy suggests that early mammals living in the shadow of dinosaurs were not all ground-dwelling insectivores. So it's a little bit confusing because we've got some negatives and things like that, but I know that these are my key words, right? So they've said they're not very blank, but then they say they weren't all this. Fossils of various plant-eating mammals have been found, including this, which he says could glide like a flying squirrel. So this is various plant-eating mammals. So ground-dwelling insectivores are different from plant-eating mammals. So some scientists have said they're not a very blank group, but this guy found that we even had various plant-eating mammals. So this could be they're not a very varied group. Do you see how I do this? Because I have various. And I'm working off the various, and this is my key word. They're not a very varied group, even though this guy found that they had various plant-eating mammals. It says they weren't all ground-dwelling insectivores, so this is saying they were all the same thing, but he's saying, no, they weren't all this, but contrast signal, they were not. So I have double negative, 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 ground-dwelling. So we originally believed that they were all ground-dwelling insectivores, which means they were not a very varied group. Do you see? I've got to figure out, you see this is confusing. I've got to figure out how all these double negatives are interacting. We have a but, they were not all like this. So many people thought they were this, which would be ground-dwelling insectivores. So this whole box, I also sometimes like to box it out like this when it gets confusing with these negatives. I'll box out the whole thing. And then I can like make a note for myself. They were all grounded insectivores. There, I'm going to make it shorter. So they're all grounded insectivores. I can make a little note. And so this box means they're all grounded insectivores. So that means they're not a very diverse group. Something like that. And I take the whole box, right? And that's this. But he said that's not true. They weren't all boring. Fossils of various these have been found. So I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for varied. And then we have predatory, no. Obscure, no, which means just like people don't know about it or it's very random. Nobody's heard of it. Diverse, yes, that's my varied, or localized. That's just kind of weird. But you can see how fast I can get the answer choice if I map it out of here. So again, the idea is find your keywords. When you have double negatives, you can box out the whole thing and then kind of figure out what the relationship is between the whole box here. When you have double negatives like but, we're not, be careful and kind of chart it out and find the easiest thing to work that blank off of. And you too can solve a hard words and context question. So find your keywords, map it out. If you want more awesome explanations of how to approach command of evidence questions, we have a whole lesson set on command of evidence on my online course. You can find it at SupertutorTV.com. If you are a tutor and you want more practice problems and you're here because you were trying to explain this to a student and figure out another angle to do that, check out SupertutorTV.com/educators. If you contact us, we will also give you free access to our Tutor Mode Basic if you get 3 students to sign up. We can also do group discounts for you if you are a tutor or teacher or educator. You can run group classes with our platform. It's perfect for solopreneurs, for teachers at high schools that are trying to run an SAT class. We have all the tools you need. We'd love to talk to you about it. Reach out. And if you're a student looking to self-study, we've got the materials that are going to help you elevate. We've even had a student score 1,600 using our materials. You could be next. Check it out.